$50 to $60 million. The government can't deliver all of the houses in this country. So part of our job is to facilitate, to assist persons who are interested in home ownership by working with the other financial institutions. But this is a serious effort that we're making, and it is the first time that TCI is taking such a huge attempt. It started already, we've done it before, but this is probably, the need hasn't been as bad as it is now. So we are concentrating on delivering. But I appreciate the fact that a lot of times there are missteps. The way we went about it the last time taught us a very valuable lesson that we're about to correct. So thank you very much.
Good evening. This is questions to the panel. Good evening, brothers and sisters. I continue to see the building of these mega projects, and I don't see a young man and young woman being prepared to take on these jobs. What I mean by it is that I don't see no building structure that is being built for electrical work, plumbing work, for carpentry, building new designs in cabinetry. All of these, the work that I see is we are bringing in labor. And I don't know if that is any benefit or much benefit to the Turks and Caicos Islands. Why I say that is that the monies, these mega billion dollar projects, we know, well, I know, and some people who know who does construction, is that labor takes up a lot of the monies. So I'm wondering if the Premier and the panel is looking at building schools so that we can teach our young man and young women these professions, so that when they graduate, and maybe when we continue on this vein, that most of the money stays here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Rachel Taylor, Minister with Responsibilities for Education, and thank you very much for the question. Now, based on our Citizens Contract 2.0, it speaks specifically to us constructing a fit-for-purpose trade school, but I think I should speak to what currently exists. When we talk about trade school, I just want persons to understand that within our high schools, we have CBQ programs, that's Caribbean vocational programs that exist. And for those programs, they are actually in the skill area. There are some schools with carpentry, some with electrical engineering. But what we are doing is that we are working collaboratively with the Turks and Caicos Islands Community College to ensure that there is a clear transition from the high schools into the Turks and Caicos Community College. We are looking very carefully at the introduction of additional programs commencing at the high school. That takes into consideration bridging the skill gaps that currently exist. But may I say this, at the community college we currently offer various areas of technical skills, electrical engineering, carpentry, and so many others. But what we have done while we await the trade school is that we have a PLA program, Prior Learning Assessment Recognition Program, providing an opportunity for us to upskill those persons who are currently in those fields. So therefore, the program takes into consideration 60% practical and 40% theory. So that provides an opportunity for those persons who are currently in the field to gain their certification. We are working very closely as well with the various companies in those fields to ensure that our students at the Turks and Caicos Islands Community College have more of a long-term internship opportunities so that they can gain the skill as they continue to be at the community college. But we are definitely working with it. We have also constructed a space at the TCICC for that area, and we are going to build out the space in terms of all the machinery so that we can definitely continue to work on building those skills. But as part of our 2.0 initiative, our trade school will be completed.
Good afternoon. I have two questions. One, the Honorable Premier, can you please enlighten Turks and Caicos Islanders as to why we have to continue to feel disenfranchised in our country to facilitate those who come to live among us? I say that because of this, and it's ongoing right now. We are down to about, I think it's 8 public beach access in Providenciales right now. It hasn't been given up for public development. There's currently a group of young Turks Islanders on the beach in Sapodilla Bay who is seeking to make a living. And we are doing our best as a government to disenfranchise them, to appease homeowners who came to live among us. When we relocate these young men from the beach and their business begin to fail, like the culture market that sits behind beaches, what are we expecting to become of these 12 young men, 4 who own the business and then the ones that works with them? That's question 1.
Okay. Phil, thank you for your question. First of all, do you want to live in a country of law and order, or do you not? Because it's important that while we empower people, we also ensure that they live within the boundaries of law and order, the boundaries of, otherwise we encourage chaos and a breakdown in society. Now, a major short sight, this country's a major short sight in the design of some of the communities across these islands. It happened way back in the 60s and 70s. And that is why today we're looking at how we can look 50 years down the road and deal with issues now so they don't become a problem. As it stands at the moment, out on that, the beach itself up to the water line, up to that edge of vegetation is public, right? Beyond the beach is people's private property, right? And so we can't have a situation where people just take things in their own hands, have no respect for people have a right to enjoy their private property. The government has been trying to acquire some of that private property to facilitate the people who would wish to operate there. We've gone to the extent of offering to provide shades for them to operate on, but we can't have people going out there and building on the beach, building structures on the beach on other people's boundaries, right? Without planning permission and stuff. That is not the kind of government that I want to preside over. We have a plan to expand across the road toilets, other facilities, including potentially operating stalls, and to keep that access open. And effort is still ongoing about potentially acquiring private property in that area to make it possible for people to do their vending, right? But we have to live within the confines of the law. We cannot, and I will not encourage lawlessness from anybody. So if people expect me in my capacity to encourage lawlessness, I can't do it, and I'm not going to do it. What I am doing, which I'm not looking at how we can provide alternative locations all across this island for people to be able to do their vending. There's a major project going on right now by the government. The government's been buying back land because in the old days we gave away the land. Now we are in a position where we have to now be buying it, some of it back. The question is, I don't know, I believe somebody sang a song. It was a song many, many years ago. I don't know, it was a reggae or something. The song was, Where do the children play? And TCI find itself in that position. Where do the children play? We've given away too much, and we've compromised the ability to enhance the social development of our people and the leisure opportunities, and we're trying to correct that. I have a program plan right now to repurchase something like $12 million worth of property in order to facilitate our water sports people. Right? So I'm conscious of the fact that, and that's why I said when I started, we have to build an inclusive society. Right? But I disagree with you that we are disenfranchising locals in the interest of others. The business license that we're speaking about, a lot of the social legislation that we're putting in place are to empower Turks and Caicos Islanders and to create a level playing field. Right? But it has to be done within the confines of the law.
Honorable Misick, you have...
So, I think Minister Jolly wanted to contribute to the question.
Just let me respond to Honorable Misick, and then I will...
Okay.
I have a lot of respect for you, of a man of decision making, and I will enlighten our gathering from the implementation of our national parks, NIB, and all those other institutions. So I will leave this in your hands to do your best to acquire property so that the Turks and Caicos Islanders who choose to be in that line of business, beach vending, can actually be in the vicinity of the beach and be able to truly benefit from what they have.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. That is my responsibility, and I will do the best that I can to make sure that people have the space and the opportunity to benefit from the bounty of this economy on the beach and off the beach.
So, good evening, everyone. I think it's an excellent question, and it's an issue that I've had the luxury of gaining quite a bit of information on over the last year. So, I think the Premier covered most of the points, but what I wanted to add, and I think he only touched on it lightly, obviously because of previous litigation, is the government would have gone through extensive and exhaustive measures in terms of not only acquiring adjacent land, but land in the area, because we're very conscious of the opportunities available to Turks and Caicos Islanders, especially young Turks and Caicos Islanders with entrepreneurial spirit. It's always difficult to have access to real estate, especially commercial real estate. Now we're talking about beachfront real estate, and most Turks and Caicos have been priced out of that market, so we understand how important that particular location is. But what has come out of this now, not only in terms of us taking on the capital project of building something across the street that can help utilize and fit within the laws. And I think that's what the Premier wanted to highlight. We want to empower our people, but we have to put the laws in place because that transcends any government. 40 years down the line, no matter who's sitting up in these positions, we want laws in place that empower our people, and that's why it's important to build the policy, the laws, and then build the structure. But it also made me as a minister look at these public beach access in a whole different concept. I think we can now look at these beach access as opportunities for local people. And similar projects like we have up in Ricky's and Grace Bay, we only talk about the crab market at beaches, but when you look at that one near Ocean Club and how we've been able to create very, very successful Turks and Caicos Islanders at the risk of counting another person's money, but we could potentially create millionaires by strategically using these public beach access and building structures. So that is our plan moving forward, and we've learned from this particular situation. So I'm glad that you highlighted, and I think it was just an opportunity to provide clarity to everyone that government has done everything it is possible to help those Turks and Caicos Islanders on that particular beach. And I think we're all going to be proud of the final product when we're done putting this whole project together, and you're going to be proud of the projects that we put together as a result of what we've learned from this particular beach access situation.
Okay, my second part, I don't think it's much of a question, but more of a challenge, or I don't know, you determine what it is. We, as a people, Turks and Caicos Islanders, being the minority in our own country, I am urging the powers that be, our elected officials, to do whatever you can to refrain from hiring and putting in place persons over us. Government elected officials are policymakers. When we hire persons and put them fully in charge of our land, our natural resources, whatever we put them in charge of, any department in government, who fully don't understand the demographic of our people, we put ourselves at a major disadvantage. It happens every day and all the time. And when we do it in government, the private sector follows suit. I heard Honorable Robinson said some time ago when the minimum wage was increased and civil servants' salary was increased, he wants the private sector to follow suit. Well, let the government begin to put Turks and Caicos Islanders in director positions and other high positions in government so that the private sector can follow suit. Thank you.
Good night, Honorable Premier.
Before you go on, I want to thank Phil for his questions and his comment. But statistics doesn't reflect that. 90%, the entire tier of the public service are reserved. Permanent secretaries and deputy permanent secretaries are reserved exclusively for Turks and Caicos Islanders, right? Now, we do have challenges when it comes to some of the quantitative areas in government. And that's part of the reason why we're having a hard time delivering infrastructure. You need quantity surveyors, you need engineers, you need project managers. These are all skills that are not necessarily always available locally. Right? So we need to deliver roads and stuff, and we need the skills to do these things. So what do? If we can't find a local person, do we do without them? Or do we hire someone and put them in a position where they're going to embarrass themselves and embarrass the government? Okay, I understand. That's why we're investing heavily. The government scholarship policy have identified particular areas that scholarship and grants are available for this very, very same reason, right? But when we train someone and they come back, the opportunities are so vast that a lot of them go into the private sector and set up their own businesses. So we can't tie them to the government because wherever they can make a better life for them and their family, they have to be allowed to do so. But the public service itself, right, and we are doing everything we can to empower the public service, right? The top tier of the service are all locals.
Good night again. To Honorable Premier, Deputy Premier, esteemed ministers and others on the panel. Now, I have lots of concerns and questions, but I will just stick to the main one that is within my field. I'm an immigration consulting agent, and doing my everyday work and trying to get clients' documents processed, you know, I encounter a lot of difficulties in terms of the long processing time that it takes for documents to be processed from submission to receiving of the documents. So I think my question will be towards the minister, the deputy, and the premier. So here it goes. What concrete steps are being taken to shorten the processing times for key documents like passports, BOTC, naturalization, registration, and TCI status cards? These documents are taken from my experience. I have written to the Premier about this a few weeks ago, but the documents are taking, I have documents like 23 to 24 months. And I think that is just unacceptable in this time, you know, in this time and place where we are boasting about economic progresses and everything, but we are so lacking in terms of processing of documents. So I also work permits. You would pay for a work permit card, and after payment of the card, you still have to wait 3 to 4 months before you get the cards. I think this again is unacceptable. So my question is, what processes are planned to speed this whole situation up, and what measures that you're going to put in or you have in place that is going to monitor or track the performance of those that are charged to manage this process? That's my question.
Thank you. Good night. I'm the Minister of Home Affairs, and the issue of citizenship, which entails PRC, passports, status cards, falls under my remit. As we all know that the Department of Home Affairs had many issues for many years. There are tons of persons who have been waiting some 2-3 years for their documents. Currently, I have started the restructuring process in the ministry. You find, as the minister, I think I'm becoming a daily customer service personnel, because I have to spend a lot of time down in those different departments, because I get bombarded every day with persons who have been waiting on their documents, and I do get it. These are life documents that people depend on, and it's serious when you have to wait 2-3 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and it is totally unacceptable. Currently, because the way government is set up, the ministry was don't receive the intake of the documents, and we are currently restructuring and creating a customer service unit within the ministry, because we know that the public has a serious problem with being able to get emails, telephone, answered. You email in months, you don't get a response. You have issues where documents are not moving. I mean, some documents you find it after 2 years and have written on it, just needed someone to bring in a piece of paper, and no one called that person for 2 years to say they just need a paper. So we are looking at restructuring these areas. Major restructuring is coming in citizenship, so we do understand it. And that's with passport, PRC. What we have done, there are areas, there are products are now coming out, and if you look every week now, you will see as documents are processed, whether it's status card, whether your passport or documents is now being published every week. There's a listing, so you can look out on the government website to see if your status card is ready or if you are required to bring in more documents. Those are the little steps we are making to clean up. There has been a lot of the backlog clean up, and there's still a lot to be done.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the question in relation to work permits and the issue of the printing of the cards. In terms of what we're doing in the short term and the medium term, the first is that we would have hired some 17 temporary staff to deal with the backlog that unfortunately would have continued over the last year, particularly when we had the outage, the viral attack that kind of corrupted some of government systems. The work permitting system was corrupted as well during that particular period, so a lot of it has been done manually. Also, as of December 1st, 2025, we would have launched for the public the application processing system, which is an interim fix, and in the first 2 months, we would have had at least 8,000 applications beginning the process online, and I'm looking to give a 3-month update at our Parliament sitting on Friday as a part of my ministerial statement to say how we are progressing with that portion. But in the medium to long term, the fix for the work permit processing will be a part of our Digital Borders program, which will have a new immigration information management system, which will deal with the processing of work permits online, residency permits, visas, as well as the electronic travel authorization. So all of that processing will be online. That contract was signed December 3rd of 2025. The consultants were on the ground this week or last week past doing their initial works. So that turnaround time to implement that new system, amongst other things, as a part of Digital Borders, is 12 to 18 months for the various elements. And since I have the mic, I will speak to those other elements of Digital Borders as well. So you have the ETA, which I mentioned already, which is the electronic travel authorization, which is essentially the same thing that the US would have, the ASTA system, as well as we'll be implementing e-gates, which we are hoping to implement definitely in Honorable Musgrove's new arrival terminal in the years to come as well. And as I mentioned, the immigration database, management system, which will have all of our products, amongst other things, as well as we will be introducing the biometrics facilities as well. So that will be coming online, and all of that package will be delivered in the next 12 to 18 months. And that's a $12 million project that is going to be paid over the next 2 years or so. Thank you.
Would the new system, the new immigration system, would that link into the current APS system that we're using, or would the APS system become dominant?
Well, the APS system will be obsolete because it was meant to be a bridge to try to go from a completely manual system to something that's more digitized, which at least we would have. And in the current system, we allow agents as well as individuals to be able to apply and enter all the documentation online themselves. And then our team behind the scenes would pull it down and then go through the process. Whereas previously, the manual route is you bring in all your physical papers and then you have a data entry clerk physically enter all that data over. So it kind of cuts out one of the steps. So again, on Friday, if you tune into the Parliament and stick around long enough for the ministerial statements, I will give a full update on the first 3 months, not only the applications that have been made, but how they're progressing through the system and what the challenges might be. Because with the data that we're gathering, we can see how to fix it and make sure we don't have 8,000 applications in process and all of them stuck at work permit printing point, and that's assuming they were issued, because the idea of the process is to speed up decisions, not to speed up predicted outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ministers, and good evening, everyone else. My question is just not my question alone. It's a question coming from multiple persons in the community. And I would like to just make a statement before that, and it goes with like, growth comes from many things, but it also comes from collaboration. And so this question is more pertaining towards provisions for continued collaboration. And it really centers around the business license category structure. What provisions have been made for existing businesses that were registered through partnerships, meaning from non-Turks Islanders and Turks Islanders? What provisions will be made for those existing businesses that are now categorized as exclusive, meaning it has to be 100% Turks Islander?
Thank you very much for your question. So, law is generally front-facing, progressive rather than regressive, retroactive. So, it is the intention, and the law provides for persons who have been practicing running businesses in the category that are now been made exclusive. There would be no new entry in that space except those would be 100 reserved. But let me say first of all the categories of business. There are now four categories of business license. One is exclusive, the other one is reserved, and then there's a category called restricted category, and then there's one that's open. And that's done based on policy. The exclusive business category are those businesses that generally require capitalization under $500,000. Not all of them, but as a benchmark, or otherwise easy to enter into in terms of capital, but also in terms of skills level. So those businesses that are currently populated by persons other than belongers will be grandfathered they'll be allowed to continue to operate. Now, the regulations or the currently, as it is intended, provides for a premium on that license. Right? In other words, if it may be a doubling up of the business license fee itself, because the government feel like we shouldn't take that license away, but we should get something back from the people being able to continue to operate in that space. Right? We have a situation where the license is co-owned by a belonger and a foreign person. I believe the intention is to first, if that person is going to sell that business, their interest, then it should first be offered to that belonger to buy that interest. That's the intention. Of course, if someone wants to pass a business on to an offspring or something, that's that person's entire right to, by inheritance, to have that business transferred to one's heir. So that's really the way the grandfathering clause will work. I hope I answered the question. I'm happy to add to it if you think I didn't answer.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned a premium for those ones that would be grandfathered in, right? So let's say, for example, the car dealership license, right, which is now exclusive, and with the existing business, it's set up in terms of partnership where non-belonger or non-islander with a islander, right? So in order for them to still keep that existing and continue operating that business, they will have to pay the premium. Is that on a continuous basis, or will be like time focused?
Well, I think I'm going to let Honorable Robinson assist me with this, but as I remember, I think it's on a continuous basis. Now, yeah. So I think that's the answer to that. Yeah.
Just one more follow-up question to that as well, right? And I think this is more focused towards younger entrepreneurs, right? Let's say starting from high school. As we know, there's different categories when it comes to the community, right? Whether it's from PRC to Turks and Caicos citizen, meaning they've been naturalized, and then Turks and Caicos Islander status, right? What provision or what do we say to those individuals that, again, will have bright ideas, different ideas that can change the country? What will we say to them when they reach the point where they're brainstorming and, again, thinking about collaboration, but they come to a point where they're a bit limited and how they can collaborate? What provisions will be made for that?
Okay, I'm not quite sure that I fully understand the question, but I believe in terms of entrepreneurship, particularly at the sort of a 100% exclusive businesses, there are a number of support that's available. One of them is, depending on the business, one could qualify for funding through Lens TCI. If you have a good business idea, Lens TCI still provide grants for that. Ultimately, we will get to a place where we have small business loans, because we can't continue to give everybody a grant who wants one. Right? But ultimately, I see in the future where through Lens TCI or through some other mechanism, small business loans are available to entrepreneurs. We're also currently thinking about establishing some kind of incubation center where we can actually assist young people who may wish to get into business, to assist with startup space and sharing space, so that we can provide assistance, whether it be marketing or other technical assistance apart, in addition to the grants that we currently give. Some of that is available. So I think that space will become more and more, that space will become more and more innovative, if you like. But the focus is really on trying to develop entrepreneurship in TCI by TCI Islanders. Now, I encourage you to speak with Invest TCI if you are in the business of looking for assistance. But yeah, I mean, we have to start somewhere with the exclusive category.
So,
A lot of, go ahead.
yeah, I guess this can just be my last question. So would you say that with the revision of the new categories, would you say in the near future, there's points where they will be open to more revisions, I guess given the economical position of the, Turks and Caicos at whatever it may be in the next 10 or 20 years to, I don't know, maybe possibly be a bit open?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the world is changing, and so this will change as well as time goes by. But the point is, there has to always be local content. It's got to be everywhere in the world you go. There is some level of positive discrimination in favor of those persons who has birthright in those countries.
Has a date been set on when existing business will be able to renew their business licenses, or is that still in the works until?
I think business licenses date for renewal and is April 1.
So it's
But of
still
course, you can always apply for a business license, but the renewal will be released April 1. Now, there are some other changes in business license, and those changes relate to the ability to, basically, if you're not operating, you're not paying your business license, you could be closed down on your license, and then you could find yourself in a position where you apply all over again. So that will be there. So I would encourage people to make sure they pay their business licenses. The other thing is, one of the reasons why we have some of these changes is to prevent fronting. So there's a very serious penalty in the Business Licensing Act to discourage fronting. I understand there are people in this country who make a living out of fronting. Someone said there's one person or individual who's got 75 business licenses. So that person is collecting, I don't know how much. That's a pretty decent thing. That's a business model in itself that I would encourage nobody to get into.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Good afternoon. A little lost now, so forgive me. Mr. Premier, I would like to recall one of your speech, New Year's speech, in which you stated that too many belongings are spectators in our country and I'd like to state that the cap fit me. I am one of them. And secondly, I just heard you use the phrase again stating about law and order. For the past 3 months, today exact, because it was December 10th, I have been seeking law and order or justice. And up to the day, I ain't find it yet. It appears as if it doesn't appear, something like that. But my point is, I am now faced with a 450% increase on my business license. And forgive me, folks, my name is Clifton Musgrove. I forgot to tell y'all, I'm Clifton Musgrove, the owner of my car rental. So today, I'm faced with a 450% increase on my business license. And in order for me to facilitate that bill, I have an elephant in the room that I have to address. Like I said, 3 months ago, I wrote in to the ministers, to the Department of, what they call it, DMV, and I stated to them that, I don't want to call his name, so I can say John Doe. Mr. John Doe has been operating his jitney, they call it, for the past 5 years. But not only that, and I let him get away with it. I was guilty. I admitted my email. I am guilty because I didn't complain. And I didn't complain because I know our people. You say something, they can say, oh, you want it all for yourself, this and this and this, but they don't understand. I pay $15,550 to operate my business legally, while John Doe is doing it illegally, and I doing it legal, and they don't understand that. So, for 5 years, he watched me doing my business, and then he got one car. I didn't say nothing private. He used it as a rental. The next year, he got a second car, put it on the road, private as a rental, and he doing jitney. I didn't complain. I watched it for 5 years. I rolled with the flow. I was making my money. Last year, October, a customer called me and said, I need a car tomorrow. I said, no problem, I'll be there. When I go to deliver, John Doe had a third vehicle and give it to the gentleman. So I said, no, this can't wait no more. This is it. This got to stop. Because I did the math. Between Brentford and the ferry, they come in 8 times a day. He's moving like 4 on an average. I'll say 3. 3 people per run. 8 trees are 24 plus. He got these 3 cars moving before me. He fights out every day. And I, as the spectator, when he done do what he done do, moving 25 people a day, I get 1 or 2. So I explained this to them, and I told them, I said, listen, y'all I have to license my car in 2 weeks. And I only licensed 14, I still got 4, 5 more to go. I ain't finished with that. Now I see this new bill. Trust me, yesterday, I can tell you the truth, I smoked myself 4 cigars because blood pressure and everything hit me. I ain't catch myself yet. This is the first time I ever speak. This is the first time I ever come out to any of these things. And this is the first time I ever speak in public. Never did it before, you know, but this is, I have to express myself the best way I could. So if y'all, see me ain't saying this and that right, understand, this is my first time ever speaking in a mic. So, like I said, everything fall on deaf ears. I already reached out to Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. So-and-so who in charge of traffic, all of them. And I record videos, every day I record the video. Because I give them the license plate, this thing, the next thing, and I just record it, and ain't nothing happening. So I try to let you know, with this other $3,000 bill, y'all gotta do something. Y'all need to deal with this because I can't take no more. I can't pay what I catch in hell now, and now there's a new bill. So I need y'all to understand. See, y'all know me. Some of them know me. And I talk in one-on-one, they know who I is. So, boy, trust me, y'all. I try to. Anyway, yeah, I'm doing the best I can because I really ain't used to this talking in public like this. So, Mr. Premier, I addressed you because of two things. You said we are spectators, they can't fit me. And you talk about law and order, I try to find it. Justice. I need help. You understand? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let me make sure I understand what the complaint is. The complaint is that you are following the law, right? And are being put at a disadvantage by someone who's breaking the law.
To be truthful, I tell him he's floating on a banana leaf. You understand? And he moving 30 people every day in front of me.
Well, what I would say to everybody in this room, and everybody can hear me, if you see something, say something. And I am happy that you're saying something. So what I will suggest that you do is, because this is a question of somebody operating a vehicle illegally.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, Honorable Sean is here.
Yes.
Have you spoken to him yet?
I said, he was copying on the email. He was copying.
Okay. Well, now you said it in public.
Yes, sir.
So he can't hide.
Yes, sir.
So I would say you appeal to him.
Yes, sir.
And if you wish to copy me, I would make sure that he doesn't.
I sent you a WhatsApp 2 months ago. You ain't reply. You never responded. I say, and I asked you, want me to send it to you in an email? But you ain't answer me.
Send me an email.
I will. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, come, final question. Ladies and gentlemen, when we started about 6:45, and we realized with the time change, the night short, so we don't want to keep you much longer, but this is our final question tonight. Please, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Daphne Penn. This question is for the Minister of... I'm looking at my land. Which minister are you talking about? Infrastructure? Okay. I just wanted to know if any process is being done on the properties on South Dock Road that was originally given as for personal use, and it has been claimed to be in a national park. That's my question.
I believe I could speak to that. My permanent secretary, whose responsibility covers land, is in the room, and I'm saying that we are in the process of addressing that issue. And so what I would ask that you do is if you make an appointment to see me, I will pull in and I can speak more directly to that, but I know we have had meetings and we are addressing that issue. Are you living here now?
Living there from 2011.
Okay, well, right, so that matter is, I don't know, Alex Kidd, is there anything in the room?
I think the best choice for me would be to have a one-on-one meeting.
Right. So that is being worked on, but if you will want to, why don't I get Alex to read out directly to you to give you the full details, but that is being sorted out. I think, okay, yeah, so we'll sort you out. We'll take it offline, but thanks for bringing it to the attention.
Honorable Taylor, you want to say something? Somebody want to chime in? Some closing remarks? No? Well. at the beginning of this evening. Okay, come on, let's go.
Can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
First, I would like to say God bless the Turks and Caicos Islands. This country's been a great blessing to me. God bless you guys running the place. Over the last couple of years, I've had to look after my mum. I've traveled a lot, haven't been here much. But I've been involved in cattle business in Jamaica, and I got a little analogy that I understand what you guys are trying to make some changes in the country. But, you know, the Bible says, and Sean had spoken about Jesus, the Bible says, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. With the measure you use, it should be measured back unto you. A good measure, pressed down, poured, shaken over, will come unto you. And one of the things I've noticed, I had to travel to Singapore, and Singapore, I grew up in Jamaica, and I grew up in the time when Jamaica became unwound. It literally became unwound. It went from being richer than Singapore to a lot poorer than Singapore. Singapore now has a $99,000 average gross domestic product. Jamaica has $7,000. So we made a mistake. And we basically, as Lee Kuan Yew said, we unwound the country. We made decisions that caused a lot of good people to leave. And I really love this country. I want to see this country blessed. And what I would say is, I was in the cow business, and if we were to go to Cuba to buy some cows, we could buy cows in Cuba. The price of a cow in Cuba is about $600. But the problem is we can't kill that cow and sell the meat. And we can't milk, if we milk the cow, we can't sell the milk. So you have to be careful how far you take it in the balance. Because in Singapore, they balanced it. But if you, for example, somebody going to North Caicos, a foreigner, would not be able to buy a piece of land and build apartments on it in the current proposal that you have. And I think maybe you might want to look at some of these things because you don't want to unwind this place. Lee Kuan Yew said, and that's what happened. Jamaica went a little bit too far. Singapore never went that far. And I encourage you guys to pray and seek God and try to make the right decisions because things can, we can make mistakes. I saw Jamaica make that mistake. It went from being a rich country that I would walk around and there was just nothing going on. And I came here and God bless this country. And that's what I would say to you guys that are running this country as a person that has been blessed to be able to come here and spend some time here and God bless you. And that's what I would say to you. Seek wisdom. Try to make the right decisions. And don't take it too far too quickly. That's what Mr. Manley did. He took it too far too quickly and we fell on our face. And there's a little video that Mr. Lee Kuan Yew sent out, and I think I'd love to give it to you guys, but it shows what he had to say. And that's all I would like to say, that if we were to go to buy cows in Cuba, not a good decision, because I can't make money off those cows. I could literally go buy all the cows in Cuba, send them to Jamaica, and sell them for $2,000 each. Because it's not a good way to make money anymore. People come to make money. This country's made a lot of people money. I'm being honest with you. A lot of people made a lot of money here, and God bless you and God bless the people who made money here. But some of the things, don't take it too far. That's all I would have to say. I encourage you. May God bless you. Thank you for all that you've done for me. Okay?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to a close, I think that's a fitting way to say goodnight to you all. For those of you who are very much still interested in the business licensing layout, the bill, please visit. Please visit www.gov.tc/revenue, or you can visit Inland Revenue on Twitter at TCIRD or TCI Revenue Department on Facebook. The bill in all its forms is there for you to view and for you to understand, and it is broken down directly for you to grasp what the government has proposed and what the legislation outlines and how that relates to you. On behalf of the Premier, the Office of the Premier, our entire team, I would like to thank you all for coming out. As I said at the beginning, civic engagements like this is how you keep your government accountable. You all think the people in Gaza talking to their government tonight, you're very lucky to have all of your ministers elected here. Thank you very much. Please get on stage. Good night, and thank you for coming.